My parents' Christmas tradition unalived my 6-year-old sister. I grew up with 11 siblings, and my parents were absolutely psychotic. They believed that modern society was making children too soft, so they created their own twisted version of Christmas that they called Survival Christmas. What started as their sick idea of character building ended up costing us everything. Instead of Santa bringing gifts, my parents would take us deep into the mountains on Christmas Eve and abandon us there for 3 days. They called it earning your Christmas and claimed it would make us stronger. The rules were simple: survive until they came back, or don't come back at all. The first few years, it was just uncomfortable. We'd huddle together, share body heat, eat snow, and count the hours until rescue. My older siblings always took care of the younger ones, and we thought it was just our weird family tradition. But every year, my parents made it harder. When I was 10, they started separating us into different locations. When my sister turned 12, they began taking our winter coats. By the time my brother Jake was 8, they were dropping us off with nothing but the clothes on our backs in below freezing temperatures. What we didn't know was that my parents had been selling tickets to other sick adults who wanted to watch children suffer. They marketed it as extreme parenting documentation and charged people to view our struggle through hidden cameras placed throughout the woods. The worst part? They had been gradually increasing the danger each year because their customers were getting bored and demanding more intense content. We later discovered they had made over $50,000 from these sick viewers, money they spent on luxury items for themselves while we wore secondhand clothes and ate cheap food all year. My youngest sister, Lily, was always the family favorite. She was only 6 years old, tiny for her age, and had a heart condition that required daily medication. My parents knew this, but they were convinced that coddling her would make her weak. The paying viewers had specifically requested to see the weak one tested, and my parents saw dollar signs. On her first survival Christmas, my parents did something unforgivable. They separated Lily from all of us and dropped her off alone, 5 miles away from where they left the rest of us. They took her heart medication and told her she'd get it back when she proved she was strong enough to survive without help. We spent the entire first night screaming her name through the woods, trying to find her. My older brother Marcus broke his ankle trying to climb over rocks to reach her location. We could hear her crying in the distance, but we couldn't get to her. On the second day, her crying stopped. When my parents finally came to collect us on the third day, we led them straight to where we'd last heard Lily's voice. We found her curled up under a fallen tree, blue from the cold, clutching a handful of berries she'd tried to eat. She had died from a combination of hypothermia and cardiac arrest brought on by the stress and lack of medication. My parents tried to claim it was a tragic accident, but the hidden cameras told a different story. The footage showed them watching Lily struggle and choosing not to intervene, even when she collapsed on the second day. They were both sentenced to life in prison. The rest of us were placed in different homes, and most of my siblings still can't handle being in cold weather without having panic attacks. We miss you, Lily.